Good day, people. Welcome to yet another episode of African Voices Amplified. Today, we have the amazing, calm, cool, collected Kefentse Matea.
Down to earth, zen, meditative.
How are you? How are you feeling?
I'm great. How are you?
Good.
I must say I'm a bit intimidated by this space. It's looks very professional.
Yeah. I mean, that's the aim,
Yeah.
the image. But yeah, man, it's quite nice to have someone young, who's also like really intellectual. You having written 2 books. So we want to hear you. We want to hear your story. We're interested in knowing what makes Kefentse, what inspired Kefentse to write the books.
That is a very I could go a whole day answering that question.
Yeah.
But what made me write the books, I actually have like many answers for this, but I would say I grew up in a house of creatives, so we were always telling stories. My sister was always telling stories, so I'm probably gonna mention my sister a lot of times because she is the backbone of what I do. She is like the foundation of what I do right now. So we told a lot of stories. I grew up in a house where so ko Denelton, ko Ntoane. So it was an environment where we would like sit around the fire and then they would like tell stories, there were times where we like didn't have TV at home and my sister would be like creative about it and she would have like stories, to tell us, it was very fun, but I think that's how I got to tap into the storytelling.
Interesting. So I hear that you have written 2 books, one being Modimolle,
Adventures to Modimolle Mountain,
and then the LAST ZULU.
The LAST ZULU,
Yeah, I mean, how different are the 2 books from each other? Or would you say that they just like have a similar, creative behind it or similar content?
Well, they're different because I wrote them in different times. They are similar in terms of the type of message they portray. They have this kind of superhero vibes, black kids superheroes, but they are different. In a whole like huge spectrum. So with Modimolle Mountain, Adventures to Modimolle Mountain was actually my first. It was supposed to be my first book, but it was long, So I had to like pause while I was writing it and then write the LAST ZULU. So writing the LAST ZULU I was writing a short story. And then my friends started liking it and I was on some, let me give them episode 2. And then they were liking it. So I was like uploading it on Wattpad. And before I knew it, I was like on episode 5 and I was on some, this might as well be a book. And then after it, I continued with Adventures to Modimolle Mountain.
That sounds like really, something that inspires young people, like being a young person that really doesn't know where to find themselves. How did you find yourself in the writing space? How did you get to the part where you're like, I can do this writing stuff?
The thing with me is that I have like a crazy confidence. I'm someone who can go today. I can be like, I'm gonna build a time machine, and trust me, I'm gonna have that insane confidence until I make it possible. I don't know how. Most of these things, they are owned by God, and once you believe, once you tap into that belief, everything just conspires, So with me, in terms of believing, also I like to prove myself. I really like to prove myself. So I was in high school and looking around, I was surrounded by a lot of geniuses. Most of my friends are way too smart.
Yeah.
But I was not really that academically smart. I was excelling, of course, but I was also creative, and I didn't know how I could tap into this, because most of my friends were not like doing this, So I wanted to do something extraordinary, also different.
Yeah.
And I started to tap into writing, and one of my friends, Matlatsi Kutumela, he was very supportive, and he was like, I would say he was way too smarter than me.
Yeah.
So like getting that impression from him, I was on some, okay, I can actually do this.
Yeah, nice.
So that's how I actually tapped into this, and then started believing that I can do this. Also, like, people telling me that I cannot do it. So I had to prove it.
It's also motivation. Keep going.
I can do this.
I get that. So, having written the Adventures to Modimollele Mountain, I want to know, what's the book about? Does it include spirituality? Because as most people know, the mountain itself it has to do with spiritual things. So I want to know how you explore the topic of spirituality within the book.
Okay, before we get into that, the book was not Adventures to Modimollele Mountain.
Yeah.
The book was Adea and the Universe Travelers, and it was spiritual. So Adea is the main character in Adventures to Modimollele Mountain.
Yeah.
So I wrote like 2 parts, part 1, part 2, and then when I had to finish it, the story just took me to Modimollele Mountain. So the characters, so it's adventure. The genre of the book is adventure. So it kind of took us to Modimollele Mountain, and I was on some, okay, that is it, Adventures to Modimollele Mountain. Also because with Adea and the Universe Travelers, it wasn't like I couldn't relate with the title, and also the people, my people. I had to relate with my people, so I couldn't really like find a way to relate with my people, So when it got to Modimollele Mountain, that's when I was on some, the book is adventure and Adventures to Modimollele Mountain. I'm not sure if I'm answering the question.
You are. Trust me, you are.
So what was the question again?
The question was, how do you explore like spirituality within the book? Like
So it is spiritual in terms of, so my stories, like I said, are usually about superheroes. My books, they set a reminder to us indigenous people that we actually have superpowers, So it's a reminder that we actually have to tap into like those rituals. You have to tap into voodoo, black magic. So what the characters do in the books is that, so what is happening in Adventures to Modimollele Mountain is that the government kind of manipulated the world up to a point where they couldn't even control it, So the world gets to a point where it kind of like diminishes, it kind of ends, but not really end, but it kind of like get to a point where we have to be like, what are we doing here, So the characters in the book, they are like kids, young people, 14, 13. We have 9-year-olds, So like I have like more like mutants, X-Men mutants.
Oh, nice.
So also they have this old woman, Sangria, who like she guides them, So Sangria is the one who kind of help them to tap into their superpowers. So their superpowers, they are like those voodoo-like rituals. She actually uses lightnings. We have those bamboma gogo balaba boba tangala khadima nene.
You know that one,
So it's all about that. It's all about, like this thing that we actually called boloi and all that.
Yeah.
It's actually a gift. It's actually a gift. Just that I feel like it has turned to a point where we use it for wrong reasons.
Yeah.
So I feel like we are way too gifted than we know. So now we got to a point where we use these things for wrong reasons. So Sangria there, she uses like lightnings to actually use her superpowers. She teaches the kids how to actually tap into their powers, and their powers, if you look at them, they are like this voodoo like powers or rituals. Yeah.
So I hear about the whole characters manipulating, natural things like lightning and everything. So I wanna tap into like imagination. How do you create such imagination or such pictures that penetrates the reader?
I like the question. So I'm a very imaginative person.
Yeah.
I legit close my eyes and I imagine things. Sometimes I don't sleep because of my ideas. I have groundbreaking ideas. That is what I'm gonna say. So how do I tap into my imagination when I write these books? Like I said, we don't own these ideas,
Yeah.
Like the ideas, they come from, I don't know, should I say the universe? They come from God.
Collective conscious type of thing.
Yeah, I just happen to catch them and then I use them. When I'm someone who would like wake up in the middle of the night just because I had this idea, and then I'm gonna write it down. If I have to sleep, I'm gonna write it down, write the important parts about it, and then go back to sleep. So I just I don't know if I have a gift of catching these ideas, but I feel like these ideas, they come to all of us. So I just catch the idea and I use them. I believe that if the idea is going to be groundbreaking or big, you better use it immediately when you get it. So most of my stories that people happen to like are the ideas that I worked on precisely. Like I got them, I got the idea, and then sometimes I happen to have like to be lucky to have the friends that I have. So I would like have an idea and then maybe write episode 1 and then send it to one of my friends, and I get like feedback, whether it's negative or positive. I know I'm gonna filter something to know that this is great.
But don't you like find it difficult to put something like that's in your head on paper? Because sometimes you can have something in your head, but interpreting it on paper, making like actually idealizing that thing becomes like way harder, like a difficult thing to do for some people. It's like expression
for some people.
For you it's not.
No. Also with practice, I've been doing this for a while. I think I've been writing for 9 years now. So also, like I told you, I grew up in a house where, also not only a house, I grew up in a village of storytellers, so I've been a storyteller by default. So putting it down on paper, it was a bit challenging when I started, and that was 2015. Is it 9 years now? So it was a bit difficult because I would like have this big idea, but I would write it into 3 pages. That's how it was difficult. But now it's gotten easy. So I would say practice.
I get it. So being an author, you must be a reader. I don't know, are you a reader? So I want to know what authors have inspired you to become who you are in the writing space. Like, which genre do you like reading? Such stuff, because I can see you're more into sci-fi, adventure, and everything.
I'm more into fantasy, sci-fi. I'm more into unrealistic worlds vibes. So my personal favorite book and this was like when I like started, I was like writing, but I didn't know what I was doing and all that. I was getting like inspiration from J.K. Rowling, but I wasn't like, she wasn't like helping me to tap in. But during that year, the year that I started writing, I stumbled upon The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho.
Oh, please, that book.
And after reading that, there was no going back. There was
that book is good though.
Yeah,
from the way it's put together, like the way it starts and the way it ends. That's like an adventure that's really put into life. You know when people tell stories, they keep them short and they try to filter. But that was like, wow.
You feel like you are actually in the book.
It gives you a sense of, self when you're reading the book. It's like you resonate with the book.
And a friend of mine, so I'm gonna drop name, Khotatso Diane. He was like, read this. After reading this, you're gonna wanna be like the boy, talking about San Diego, And I was like, okay, I'm gonna read this, and I read it.
I actually read it twice.
I remember, I also read it twice. I remember the first time I read it, I was writing exams, but I would like do my studies and then reward myself by reading The Alchemist. That was an adventure.
A nice book. So that's one of your inspirations.
Yeah, also, I wouldn't say it's like only authors and books. Also, I get a lot of inspiration from music. So there are some of the musicians that make me want to tell stories. Your Frank Ocean, your Wello, Rory. It's a bunch of them. Even our South African artists, our Tandi Somazwai, So I would say it's like artists, not only like authors. So
knowing that you're an author and you write books, you're in the creative space, I want to know, how else do you like express yourself creatively? Is it just only books, or do you have like other, things that you're pushing, like music, fashion? Because there's so many expressions in the creative industry.
I would say I express myself in terms of fashion, the way I wear, the way I put the outfits together. But like I said, I grew up in a house of creatives. Also, like I said, I'm going to talk about my sister a lot. So my sister, she draws. She's a visual artist. So she would like draw, and as a kid, like coming back from school and find Kamakareda, Ali busy at draw, and I'll be like, Sometimes I would want to do that thing that she's doing, And then kids, like I would say, like she programmed me, because they would like Jim Ellie. Do you know Jim Ellie?
Yeah, I do. I remember.
Like we would like play Jim Ellie. They were very like creative, like the game is and also I would say I'm lucky for a hohola in a house of a lot of kids, a lot of children, and by that time I was like the youngest, so I was like taking, I was like, I would say I was mimicking a lot. That's what got me here. So I also do visual arts, I draw, I'm a poet, I can rap, but I don't think I wanna tap into like music anymore, I used to like record music, but music is a lot, man. Also, like the way that I am, I obsess on my creativity. Sometimes I don't sleep, and music requires a lot, So I'm trying to run away from music as much as sometimes I get ideas to make music. I still write raps, I still write music, but I don't really want to make music because it's very powerful. to a point where some people can't handle it. Like the most of the artists who die because of their art are the musicians.
Yeah.
Musicians, they take drugs. It's hard to like handle music. That is how powerful music is. So I'm always trying to run away from music. But yeah, it comes to me and then I use it when I have to, but I don't really want to tap into that. You might see me one day, but I don't know. Like
Yeah.
So I do like music, but I don't really wanna at my core I don't really wanna tap into music because of how powerful music is. But also, like, to answer your question, I'm a visual artist, I'm a poet, I'm a storyteller. So also, other than like writing books, I also write shows. I have a show coming. It's a sitcom. I think people are gonna love this one.
Yeah.
So we recorded audio sitcom of it, so it's gonna drop on Spotify and all that. So yeah, at my core, I'm a storyteller. Right now, I'm tapping into theater and all that. I'm a director. So yeah.
Nice. Hey. But I wanna know, which ethnic group are you from? Like, which tribe in South Africa are you from?
So ke Motswana, ke Mokgatla.
Yeah. Oh. Okay.
Also, I am Pedi, so I'm Tswapedi.
Okay. So what inspired this title?
The Last Zulu. Oh yeah, thank you for asking that question.
Yeah.
So the Last Zulu. When I say Zulu, I don't really mean the Zulus. When I say Zulu, I mean a black person.
Yeah.
They say, this is something that I have learned also, that we are from the sun. We are the children of the sun. So Izulu, we are from, that's why we are melanated.
You're taking us into the rabbit hole, but keep going, please.
So Zulu, by Zulu, what I actually mean is black person, the last black person, the last black girl. So
Nice, because I was about to ask, what makes you comfortable speaking about Zulu people?
Hey, they catch feelings. They catch feelings. The Zulus, they catch feelings. But yeah, I like that. They catch feelings because I'm doing something different. So Zulu is actually me saying black people.
Black people in general. Yeah. Oh, that's nice. So what's the book about? Like, being the Lost Zulu?
The Lost Zulu.
Is it like the last person on earth? Give us a feel of the book.
Yeah. So, ka metaphor, yes. Most storying, I make it like she is the last living person on earth.
Yeah.
So, what is actually happening in the story is that humans, they go to war with these outside creatures. So okay, let me take you from the beginning.
Yeah.
So there was a time, this was when like I got this idea. So like this ideas, we don't own them, they come to us. So there was a time where I was like really interested in NASA, So there was a time where NASA was going to the moon in 2019 December. They had to shoot to the moon. I gave it for a. But me, when I read that and I saw that, I was on some, what could go wrong? What if, So also I was already a writer and I was on some, let me put this into a story. So what is actually happening? In the book, they shoot to the moon.
Yeah.
But while they shoot into the moon, there's a fault in their rocket. So their rocket actually passes the moon and it gets out of our galaxy, the Milky Way, into another galaxy and into another planet. It crashes there, and then not necessarily batho, but creatures, you might say aliens. So these aliens, they actually bahead because now some of their most important people, most on Twarane. So they actually want to know who are these people? Like, they look different when they get into the rocket and they find. So the astronauts, they died also because it crashes on Swarane. So they actually want to know, nah, man, why these people, why are so galavian on Swarane? So they want revenge. So they trace the whereabouts of this rocket, and then they come for revenge. When they come for revenge, you know how humans are egotistic and all that. Humans, they think they can actually fight these creatures, you know. So we actually go to war with these creatures, but these creatures, they happen to be way more powerful than us. So they wipe out the whole human race, you know. So Wawa is the main character in the book. Wawa actually, Papa Hai is one of the warriors in the Zulu land, you know. So before they go to war, Ofika, she hides the girl into an abandoned home, and then they go to war and all that. So the outsiders are the creatures. That's how I call them. They wipe out the whole human race, and then we only left with the LAST ZULU, you know. So the LAST ZULU, she goes about having to survive on Earth by herself. This is where it takes us to the meaning of the story. So the meaning of the story, like how I told you, my message or my reminder is to indigenous people that we actually have superpowers. So during those struggles, our main character, Wawa, she actually finds a way to tap into her superpowers. So in season 1, she actually taps into her superpower. So she transcends into other planets by herself, you know, by using like the Mekaba. You know what the Mekaba is?
I do.
Oh, yeah.
I do.
Okay, I'm talking to the right person.
I'm also into the things, but as you can see, I try to stay grounded to reality and stuff.
Let's go deep.
But I get it. So interesting. But I want to know, how do you come to the names of the characters? Because I can hear they have an African feel to them.
Yeah.
Even from the first book.
Yeah.
What inspired the character named Wawa?
Oh, actually, okay, what I like to use like short and catchy names for my characters. So like I told you, like I was writing this book as a short story, and then negasena lebitso per se for the character. So a friend of mine, Palesa, we were go Vista MI. That was 2019. And then she started talking about her sister and all that. And then Wawa. And then I like the name. But my thing with names is that I like to use like short and catchy names. Sometimes I just take a letter, and then I create a name for myself. So with Wawa, it was actually inspired by someone's sister's name. So even the sister, I'm not sure even the sister knows about it, but she will know maybe one day.
Is she recognized in the book?
And also the crazy thing is that I once saw the sister because Kesesia Chumiak, of course. She has like an afro. She looks very African, you know. So when I look at the character, it's like everything is aligning. I didn't even intend to make it like that, but everything is just aligning. So
talk about divine intervention. Okay, so it's actually she's aligning with what you almost like.
I should send her the book. Now that I think I should send her the book. I don't know if she's gonna like the genre, if like this is her vibe, but she actually inspired the name. And then when I got to see her, now that I even think about it, I didn't think about it. Wait, so now that I think about it, I see it. Oh, okay.
It was definitely like listening to you talk. I can hear that you're a person that, you know, likes the imaginative space and you know, just likes to explore when it comes to like imagination and everything. What keeps you grounded? Like, what keeps you in touch with reality? Because it's quick to get lost in your imagination.
God. No.
I
would say God. I have a close relationship with God. And I wasn't like this. I would say like 2 years ago, I wouldn't say God, I would say the universe,
Most definitely.
But right now that I realize, man, it's actually the same thing. So I would say God keeps me grounded. I have one of my most longest conversations are with God. I meditate a lot. Even when I'm not deliberately meditating, I'm meditating. Even now, I am legit meditating. I can feel your energy. So I would say, God, nature, art, looking at art, creating art, going outside to nature, tapping into these ideas and actually using them keeps me grounded. Like also the conversations with God, they keep me grounded. Meditation is a huge part of my life.
Definitely.
Meditating.
So you're the type to wake up and just
yeah.
I mean, I meditate myself, but like for a person that really doesn't know what meditation is and how it works, what would you tell them? Like, how would you say meditation keeps you grounded in a sense of, actually perceiving reality and taking reality in? Because reality is a lot, like it's a lot. Like just a whole day is like a lot, So if you had to really tell a person how meditating could help, like take in that, so what would you tell them exactly?
Well, it's different. It's going to be different. Like their experience of meditation is going to be different from mine. I feel like humans, we all somehow meditate. Some people, like kids, when they like sometimes running around playing hide and seek, that can be part of meditation. Some people, they use drawing to meditate, but deliberate like sitting down, cross-legged meditation, I would say it kind of like gets you to acknowledge yourself, to tap into yourself. Like it's crazy to just focus only on your breathing. And when we say like focus only on your breathing, people feel like, but like there's a lot of thoughts and all of that. Yes, thoughts are gonna be there, but just tapping into, like deliberately like doing that, it's also like prayer. It's you might get distracted, but while you're distracted, you also will come back to your senses that, I'm actually meditating. And sometimes you forget. Once you forget that you're meditating, you forget even about your breathing, you forget even about your thoughts. That is when you have tapped into meditation. That is when you have tapped into your chakras. And most people don't like it when I start talking about the game.
I definitely know that, because me myself, I have friends that don't understand. I'm just like, okay, it's fine.
No, sometimes it's not that they don't understand. They don't like it. Like sometimes the language, like 3 years ago, I wouldn't like to use like the word God or Christianity but growing up, I started to realize, man, this is all the same thing. So sometimes as people, we might talk the same language, but the way we use this, like the terms, if I start to talk about the chakras, and sometimes someone gets weirded out. But if I say maybe alignment or blessings, they get it. But it's all like the same things, So
most definitely. So which chakra would you say is like most important? I'm not saying single them out, but the one that you felt that you need to really get unlocked, and actually balance it out.
They chakras, they work together. You can't just say, I'm gonna focus on this chakra.
That's why I say not to single them out, but the one that you like had to balance out, the one that you'd say it was like key for you to balance out, because sometimes you find that
Oh
it's
yeah,
not all the chakras
the one.
that are imbalanced.
Are you saying like the one that is, like difficult, or the one that I had to work on the most?
Yeah.
I would say it's my crown chakra. Even today, I find it hard to like open my crown chakra. Also, my third eye.
Yeah.
Because a third eye is very tricky, because once you open your third eye, you start to feel like you see everything, you know everything, and then you start to let go, of the practices like prayer, like connecting with your God, and then that kind of blocks everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say like the crown chakra and the third eye, they are one of the most, because once you open them, you start to feel great. You start to feel like, man, it wasn't meditation, it wasn't prayer, it was me.
You step into your ego.
Exactly. You step into your ego,
and you forget that the work being done was to like get out of that state.
Exactly.
And I totally get it. But being in this conversation of chakras, everything, meditation.
Some people are gonna hate on us.
Another thing is that we are in a world or in a society that actually demonizes such stuff, in a sense.
Exactly.
So like, I want to understand, how do you like approach the negative commenting on whatever that you have going on, even with the books, because you refer to such things.
Yeah.
How do you navigate the negative commenting about it?
God.
Yeah.
Like, conversating with God, having a relationship with God, for me, it keeps me grounded. Like, having a bad day, and sometimes I just have a bad day, and then I tap into my prayer and I realize, that was nothing, So I would say back to grounding myself.
Yeah.
I don't have like a lot of like fans and criticism so far, to a point where dilo tse batho ba di bolelang di nkang hama or ntshwarane. So like most of the people who comment on my things, they like positive vibes. But I know someday I'm gonna get to a point where, that's why I don't like to like body chakra and all that, because I know some people they get offended. But when I get to that point, I know it's gonna be about me getting back to myself, grounding myself, re-acknowledging myself. So I would say, just conversating with God gets me back to negativity, makes me bounce back from negativity.
Most definitely. So how does your books actually change a person? Like, because when you read material, it needs to add value. You can't just read stuff and really they don't contribute to your life or anything like that. So how do your books add value to someone's life, or what benefits do they provide to someone?
One thing I know is how my books add value to me. And I think that is enough. How they add value to me. I don't know how they're gonna add value to. I might have an intention, of course, but I don't know how someone is gonna perceive. Like me looking at you like this, and the cameraman looking at you we don't see the same thing. We don't. Even like if the cameraman was here, we wouldn't see the same person or the same thing. So my books, it's you coming to them to acknowledge yourself. So the worlds that I have created in the books, you're gonna read them and then you're gonna see your world, not the world that I have created. Creatively, of course, you're gonna see there's a garage in chapter 3, garage, and he talks about the bones, and I'm not talking about the bones, I'm just making an example. But the bones, they're gonna mean something to you. Different from what they meant to me. So it's all about you coming to the book and acknowledge. Me and you, we read The Alchemist, but the experience it's a rebellion and how we related to the alchemist, it's way different.
Because it's also about where you are in life.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so what I'm getting is that you just get the message out, but not controlling how people perceive it.
Yeah.
That's nice. So where can people find the book? Are you on Amazon? Is it online? Do you have a website? So how can people get a hold of the book, and how much is it?
So I like when people like legit connect with me. So my social media, they like contact me and I deliver the book. So far I'm enjoying that, but also the people that can find my books on Amazon, it's Amazon and me, so they can choose. If they don't want to interact with me, they can go to Amazon. But what I like is to like know that feeling of wrapping a book and knowing that it's going to this address, it's going to this specific person. So far I like that.
And for the non-readers, the people who prefer to listen, do you have an audiobook, or are you still working on that?
Still working on that. I don't have an audiobook so far, but like I told you, we're bringing an audio sitcom that is gonna drop on Spotify. That is very interesting, and it's way out of my typical style.
Let us know when it's dropping. Like, give us a so we can stay tuned.
Okay. I don't know when it's dropping exactly, but the next month, on the first days of April, we're gonna be doing a listening session for it. Go Tshwane Library, mo Semimax Square. It's gonna be a whole vibe. Like cinematic vibe. So
nice.
you guys should buy the tickets and pull up.
Definitely pulling up. I mean, definitely pulling up, because so far I'm resonating with what you say. You know, it feels like
Also, like the sitcom is not really like chakra vibes. It's sitcom. It's comedy.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I like to laugh. You know, like I'm a person that finds joy in everything art. You know, it doesn't necessarily need to be the art that I'm in. But being a poet myself, I wasn't really a poet. I was never a poet. But the fact that I fell into the space and liked it, I'm there. But not necessarily like leaving the other arts behind. I'm also into music and everything. So hence why I'm saying,
I can tell.
Tell us. I'll be there, definitely buying a ticket. And what I recommend is that people buy this book, because I'm already getting myself a copy after this. So but I want to know, you know, I've heard you mention childhood and, you know, being just a kid and, you know, exploring such things. How would you say the childhood phase, you know, is important to one's, you know, life? You know, lifespan, like which crucial role does your childhood play in that?
Big. I like the question. Big. So the childhood is the programming stage. That is when you get programmed. That is why, like most parents, they're very like selfish with their children when they're young. You know. But to talk about my personal experience, you know, I grew up in the rurals. A part of my childhood, and then another part of my childhood, I was here in Mamelodi. But man, like we would like really do art without meaning to do art. You know, the people there, they do art, they practice art every day. You know, from when something is broken, they're gonna be creative about it, and then they're gonna fix it like creatively. When like there's no water, they're gonna like and then you know, like everything that they do is creative, from like making the foods, growing foods and all that. I grew up in a very creative space, and also we didn't have a lot of like digital stuff like the phone, TV and all that. Also, I went to the mountains, you know, like initiation. So even in that space we were like so creative. So it was like only like the boys, and we were young, and we were very creative. Even how we would like hunt. I know now I sound like an old age, but go I would say like the rurals, they have a lot of impact in what I do right now. Yeah.
So would you say the like modernizing the world and actually technology is killing creativity?
Read Adventures to Modimolle Mountain.
Yeah, that's
read Adventures to Modimolle Mountain.
Yeah.
You're gonna find that.
I want to get into the interesting part because I've read one of your quotes in your books, and I really resonated with the one that says, humans take too seriously what God has created for fun.
Oh yeah, that is not my quote. That is just my personal favorite quote.
Personal favorite, yeah.
Yeah, we take things too serious, you know.
Yeah.
And when you think too much about stuff, you know, you remove what is moving. That is Kid Cudi.
Yeah.
So, we stress a lot, you know. Now we are like in a very stressing era, you know. But once you realize, man, this is just an experience, you know.
Yeah.
Like we have nothing to lose, legit. We have nothing to lose. We just came here on Earth to vibe. For real. We just came here.
Yeah.
Like, yo, man, I can't stress this enough. Like, even with this whole podcast thing, like the cameras, and we could like sit like this without making a podcast and just a vibe. And that is a human experience. That is like, if we would like tap into like deeper parts of this whole human experience if like no camera that, because now I'm conscious camera. Now I'm live, you know, like I'm conscious,
you're
but
packaging yourself in a sense.
So I think like the quote says, human take too serious what the gods have created for fun. So we are. Hey man, I'm also a victim of this. We just take things to an extreme extent.
Yeah.
You know, when we just have to be like swimming in the ocean, you know, eating mangoes, you know. For real.
Because I've heard this other video that says we don't really have problems, we create the problems.
Exactly. Yes.
So and I've really, you know, gotten to understand it, because in a sense you really don't have problems.
No, you don't.
But the problems are created because you yourself are trying to make something out of another thing, and it gets too complicated.
That is another thing that I have learned with also like money and all of this material things. Once you become happy when everything just comes. People are gonna hate me for this, but once like you realize man, I'm rich, I'm wealthy, you know, like everything will just like come to you. You want like and
you know, I really don't like the fact that people make it sound so unrealistic when you say such things. Like, you know, when you say, man, like I'm just vibing, going with the flow, and they think in a sense that you're taking life so unserious, but life is unserious itself. You know, it's a series of phases. You don't know where you're gonna end up. You just have to like
have fun.
And I take it in a sense of, you know, let me refer to the ocean. You know? If you swim against the current, you know that you're dying. You are dying. But if you just like try to get with the flow and actually float on the water, that's where you don't even know where you're gonna end up, but you're gonna end up somewhere, you know. So I really resonate with what you just said. But I wanna know though, since that one wasn't your quote, I wanna know your favorite quotes in your book, like maybe 5.
Yo, 5 quotes. You know, the thing is, I was even telling Lebohag. Like when I write, so when I was writing Adventures to Modimolle Mountain, I gave my little sister my book to edit. So she would like highlight some parts and she'd like be like, yo, I like this part. But me, I didn't think that would be a quote. You know, so I don't have like. There's one that she actually highlighted. It says, if you. It says. If you the things that you hate, I don't know if Lebogan sent you that one.
Yeah.
If you
don't pursue what you love, the things that you hate.
If you don't pursue the things that you love right now, the things that you hate, they will follow you.
Yeah.
I wasn't intending to make a code.
Yeah.
You know, I was just being real with like how I was feeling while I was writing the book. So the people, they will read the books and then they are the ones who are gonna filter the codes. Me, I don't know like code to, and so I don't know. I'm just being myself and sharing my wisdom the way I know it.
But and like, haven't you said something and you felt like, now this is bomb. This could actually make an Einstein type of level code, this one.
I have, but you know, I feel them when I'm in the experience, when I'm actually writing, and I'd be like, whoa! I would even like stand up on my chair and be like, whoa! But I'm gonna be honest, I forget some of the things that I write.
Yeah.
Some of the things that I write, I forget, and I read my books a lot when I'm like in the phase of like writing, when I'm in the phase of editing, proofreading, and once they are out, I'm done. Honestly, I'm done.
I understand. I understand.
Because now when they're out, I have this thing of, the people are gonna read this. Why did I talk about chakras like this here? And now I start to have like those inner critics and So I just like to create when I go. Now that the 2 books are out, I'm focused. I was focused on the sitcom that I told you about. When it's out, I don't want to even look at it, because I spend so much time looking at it. I'm going to pursue something else, So, And this is something that I like to say, one day, I'm going to chill and then read all of my books. One day. And nice. I'm pretty sure it's not like in 5 years or in 10 years. Maybe like in 20 years. I'm gonna I'm gonna like chill and be like, let me see what I've been creating. Yeah.
Most definitely, because I've heard this other thing, or I don't know where I've heard it, but I also forget. I forget a lot. So they said sometimes you ruin a good thing by just like doing too much, like constantly trying to fix it, and it's art. Like the more you try to better it, it veers off from what it's supposed to do.
Art doesn't finish.
It's continuous.
Like this is the most perfect. Like To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar. Like it's a very beautiful album, but I'm pretty sure like enhancement everything art. There is always a room for improvement, a room to scratch something out, and
definitely. And I feel like that's why there's so many people in the creative space. If I can't do it better, then someone else will. Because we all get our ideas from the same place. So if my idea doesn't really match up, hopefully yours will. But the thing is, about commercializing art, it has to be like, I get it done now, so that I can get this or get that, or that's where the problem starts. And I hear you saying that, the inner critiques and everything can wait. Just get it out. And then if I want to do that, I'll sit down, read my books and say, okay.
Well, but to elaborate on that, like when I'm in the creating process, I obsess. I'm gonna read it 100 times. I'm gonna scratch things out and all that. But when it's out, I don't wanna like really touch it. Sometimes I do like open my books and be like, and then when I feel like I'm doing it too much, I'll be like, hey.
Yeah, definitely. So I wanna know, do you watch movies? Do you?
Yeah, I love movies. I wanna, that is my passion.
Which movies, which genre exactly do you like?
A bunch of them. I like sci-fi. That's why I create sci-fi.
That explains it.
I like romance.
Oh, cheese.
I like comedy. Yeah.
Is it that like the cliched type of romance, or you like romance that's like really not the cliched vibe, the one that's like obvious, or
they're gonna fall in love.
Yeah, this one's gonna do this, that one's gonna do that. Do you like the more realistically made romance, or the
I love love. I think I love.
So you're not judgy.
No, I love love. I love romance where they fall in love, happy endings. Even I love when it's not a happy ending. I like to just witness the roller coaster of love.
Oh yeah.
I love love. That's why I love romance. Just to see two people falling in love and
So what's your take on black love? Is black love really a thing, or is it just the thing that we made? Like,
I didn't know there was something like black love, but it existed way before, back. Like looking at our grandparents, that was black love. I guess you can understand the question now.
Yeah.
But
I'm just talking about black love being love within black people,
like us black people, we are like the original, let me say indigenous people. We are like the originator of a lot of things. We are like the originators of a lot of things. We really know how to love each other way better than how the Caucasians how like the Western people, like they usually mimic us. That is what I'm saying, so black people, we used to love each other way beyond how. So like they attacked us and they ruined this bond that we had, so black love existed way before the term even black love would like come back, so the things that you usually see like being portrayed by white people in the media, they were adapted from our cultures most of the time. So black love existed way before.
I hear you, and it really makes sense because looking at it from a space where you actually keep track of where these things come from, it really makes sense. But now I feel like it has come to a point where we want to remember, especially for us young people now. Like we want to get a sense of belonging, a sense of where do we come from, because we are in a world that's really jumbled up. You don't really know, where do I come from, where am I going? You just and it's painful,
a lot.
So we actually, these concepts are actually created because we wanna really find something to take and say, this is us, or this is where I come from, you know what I'm saying? And I totally get the way that you look at it. Like it has been.
People are like, like romance, like they made it like romance, like you imagine roses, you imagine white people, but those things, they were taken from us and then recreated. So like, hey man, but I take it like a big time.
I mean, mental slavery. I think you do listen to Bob. You look like
Bob Marley.
Yeah,
I love Bob Marley.
You know Redemption song, right? Emancipate yourself, man.
I love Bob Marley.
Definitely. Did you see the movie? Did you not?
No. Okay, when trailer and I was on okay, I'm gonna. But I don't usually like these movies because they also twist them, in a way. Now it's no longer what it was, so I feel like my imagination is enough. Push up. Also, like he like we really enough in terms of music. We can really feel the energy.
So I want to ask, just an intriguing question that's bouncing around my mind. But how do you feel about art being associated with like weed, drugs, like art itself? Like when you see an artistic person, usually it's either they're on some substance.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying they're on some substance. Either alcohol, wine, weed, but they always have something, So what's your take actually on the whole artistic people are always on something?
Yeah. Like I said, like art is very powerful.
Yeah.
Way beyond like no ibile like generation era we glamorize it,
Yeah.
we make it seem like this cool thing, but art is very spiritual. It's very powerful beyond us, beyond what we know. That's why like most people have to take something to tap into that thing, like I said, music is very powerful. Music is one of like the most powerful arts. That's why most music artists like they die because of drugs, because of like bawamo staging. So the reason that most people like they want to take something, it's because art is very powerful, and sometimes most of the time we go into art with a bit of fear. That's how powerful art is. So we just have to, I don't know why I say we, but so artists, they take something usually just to numb those like senses, also the inner critics, to just tap into this art thing. But once you know and you can do it sober.
So talking about how the youth like really glamorizes such substances, do you think now we've really missed the mark, like really taking it out of context, like really taking the substances in a way that's really not good for us anymore? Like, when a person becomes a rapper or an emerging rapper, they glamorize weed and actually say, this is stuff that they make it a culture in a sense, Do you think, or in a sense, that's wrong, or really it doesn't really matter?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I feel like this is a generation, and then this is how this generation is moving. Artists back then, I feel like they used to do weed and all of the substances way beyond some of us, So I feel like it's a generational thing, It doesn't have to be doesn't mean a bad, or it's a time where human race will learn from it, like how now we're learning from Bob Marley, they actually took this, the ones who Brenda Fassie, they would like take drugs and all that, but it's a generational thing. I don't think it's good or bad. No, I don't know if it's good or bad, but also I don't feel like Generation Rena, it takes a lot of, like, we make it cool, Rena, but Radala, I feel like those ones, they would smoke, bro.
Most definitely. Smoke. So what makes you consider that something is bad?
That is a difficult question. Well, nothing really is good or bad. It depends on. It can be bad for me personally, but I wouldn't say just because cocaine is bad for me, and then now I have to like saying something is bad. Like comes from a judgmental view. Something good is good or bad. It comes from a very judgmental view. So I wouldn't say I would say something is bad, but for me, something is good, but for me, But I would advise you. I would advise you or someone that this can be bad for you, or this can be good for you. I wouldn't say, the weed is good for you because you are a rapper or you are an artist, or this is good for you. Like that would come from a judgmental perspective.
Yeah, totally get it. But it's been nice talking to you. Hey, like getting a viewpoint of sci-fi, fantasy, adventure, spirituality. Like you've really taken me to a whole new world, but it's really been nice. And we want to know, where do we find you? Instagram, TikTok, where you at? Before we wrap it up, we need to know where to find you.
Most of the time, more Instagram.
Yeah.
Kenna Senequai New.
Yeah.
_ Senequai New. Senequai New is uniqueness spelled backwards. Yeah. Also, I'm on YouTube. I'm doing like a game show on YouTube. It's Senequai New Books. So I'm on a tour where I'm planning to give like 10,000 books to like young people, to school kids and all that. You know about it.
That's nice.
So I don't know how I'm gonna go about this, but it's crazy. It's something fearful, so that's why I like it. So I'm on YouTube, Senequai New Books. I'm on Instagram _ Senequai New, and I get frustrated. Also, I'm on TikTok, Senequai New Books, but I'm not really active. I'm trying. Facebook is not my cup of tea. But I'm there. But you just look for me. You will find maybe one post.
Definitely, we'll check it out. For me, guys, it's been good. It's been great. The amazing Kefentse Matea.
The great.
You can find him, as he said, Instagram, YouTube, and then the other ones, choose Masketela. But from me, Onta, and the Ava team, it's been nice. And as we say usually on African Voices Amplified,
can I say something?
Your voice shall be heard.
Can I say something? It's been nice also. They made me tea when I got here. They made me breakfast. I wasn't expecting that. Thank you.
Peace out, guys.